A few weeks ago, there was a big snowstorm here in Boston. Okay, maybe not big for those of you that are actually from Massachusetts, but big for a timid Tennessean like me, okay? And within a few days, everything was cleared off and it was totally fine, except for on those shady side streets where the trees hang tall and the snow turns into ice, and that would be fine too, except for the fact that I happen to live on one of those shady side streets, and I also happen to park my car on one of them. So I'm coming home from work and I've driven around 3 or 4 times on the block and I am exhausted and I see a spot with only a medium amount of ice on it and I think to myself, all right, I've been in Boston for 3 or 4 years now. I think I can do it. And I back my car in and the first 2 back wheels are going good, but I get to that front right corner and I feel the tires disengage and immediately I know. Immediately, I know my car is stuck. So I panic and I do what any 25-year-old would naturally do in that situation. I call my mom. And I say, hi, Mom, my car is stuck. I really need help. What should I do? But she, of course, is also from Tennessee and has no idea what to do in this situation and says, you need to break up the ice. So I go and find the only thing in my house that I know is good for breaking things, a hammer. And I go outside and start trying to break up the ice with a hammer. But yes, you're getting it. Obviously, this is much too small. So alas, this is not working at all. So I go to the hall closet and I borrow a shovel from a neighbor, but alas, I am also notoriously weak, so this does not work either. And in lieu of the advice of my parents, I go to my second best source, that's the internet, and I read on the Massachusetts State Reddit that what I need to do is go to the Star Market by my house, get some non-clumping kitty litter and put it under my tires so that it might re-engage and I can drive out of the spot. I try this, and it obviously does not work either. And I feel myself starting to get frustrated. Not with my car, not with the ice, not with this new pile of kitty litter that I now own, but with the situation itself. And I think about why, and immediately I know it's because I just don't have time. I don't have time to be inconvenienced. You see, I had an exam in the morning, and I didn't have 30 minutes, much less 3 hours, to be outside in the cold for that long. And I start to feel it weigh on me, because I just did not have time to be inconvenienced. With today's scripture, I think we are dropped right into the middle of what feels like a very big inconvenience. The text tells us that a crowd has gathered outside the house where Jesus is staying, and a group of 4 friends knows that their 5th friend, who is paralyzed, needs to see Jesus. But the crowd is too thick. They just can't get through, and instead of turning around or waiting for a better opportunity, they engage in what has to be the least convenient option possible. They decide that they're going to climb on the roof and cut a hole in it and then put their friend on a mat, and then somehow, in what I can only describe as an ancient pulley system, they're going to lower their friend to where Jesus is teaching. Surely, this cannot be the easiest way to do this. And honestly, it makes me have some questions about how Jesus is showing up in this situation. I just want to ask him, like, hey, Jesus, wasn't speaking to crowds and telling them to do things so that people can have access to a better life part of your whole thing? Couldn't you have just said, hey, excuse me, everyone, if you could just move to the left and to the right, this man could get through? Surely, Jesus, that is within your skill set. And Jesus, if the man couldn't get to you, why didn't you just go to him? Elsewhere in the Gospels, you do this. You do it for Jairus' daughter when you travel to his house to heal her. You even traveled whole cities to raise your friend Lazarus from the dead. So why not here? God, why let these 4 friends go through all this trouble? The only thing that I can come up with is that Jesus is letting them be seen. Jesus is giving the friends the opportunity to stand above the crowd and become a model for what life-altering community looks like. Jesus is giving the crowd a chance to look up and see the beloved people of God showing up for one another, even when it's deeply inconvenient. Because had Jesus simply gone to the man, no one in the crowd would have seen their fellow humans sweating and laboring and saying, "I will do whatever I need to make the conditions of just one person better. I will tear the roof off the building if I have to." And what really gets me is that Jesus sees all of this unfolding and he doesn't say, "Hey, you guys, you didn't need to do all that. That was excessive. I would have gotten to him eventually." Instead, the text in Mark tells us when Jesus saw their faith plural, that's when he acted. Not even when he saw the faith of the man on the mat himself. No, it's when he saw the faith of a people willing to be inconvenienced for one another that God moved. It's when he saw kindness look a whole lot like advocacy. When Jesus saw people willing to sweat and struggle and tear up a roof, if that's what it took to bring someone closer to healing, that's when everything changed. It was 10:30 that night when I finally decided to call my friends. My friend Jordan answered the phone, and I said, "Hi, so sorry for the inconvenience. I really hope that you haven't got your workout in for the day, and I'm hoping that you and whoever is with you might come to my house and help me push my car out of the spot that it's gotten stuck in." They were there within minutes. And all of the sudden, we were laughing, rocking the car back and forward in unison, all 6 of us, just thinking about how ridiculous it must look for the people watching from their windows as a bunch of scrawny divinity school students are huffing and puffing and slipping on the ice, just trying to push my car out from the spot. And then just as quickly as the car had gotten lodged in place, it slipped free again. It took us 6 minutes to do what I couldn't do alone in 3 hours. We all started screaming and laughing and dancing in place, and I kept saying, "Seriously, I can't believe that we did it. This is a miracle. This is a miracle." And my friend Jordan just looked at me and said, "Really, Kat? We've been in divinity school all of this time, and you're just now learning the power of community?" Friends, this is the power of community. The power of showing up when it would just be easier to stay home. The power of a faith that moves, not just in words, not just in belief, but in action. The power of inconvenience embraced for the sake of love. The power of kindness that manifests in being an advocate. Because what my friends did for me that day in small part and what these 4 friends did for the man on the mat in volumes is what we are called to do for one another in this time. To dig through barriers, to break down walls, and if necessary, rip the roof clean off so that no one is outside of healing, belonging, and grace. Beloveds, my friend Jordan was right. Look around. This is the power of community.